Hi, so this is my final major project game, Ecoscape. It's created as a team of two, and I was the programmer, UI guy, and I also did some art. So here we are in the game. We've generated a random terrain, uh, and now just going to read the first tutorials. This codex is meant to guide you through the game. It's got a bunch of information. The first one we're going to see is that we need to go into top-down view and start repairing the terrain, which is all derelict, full of dead trees. It's meant to sort of emphasize the habitat loss that is harming endangered species. So, first thing we do is we switch to the deletion tool and start getting rid of these trees. You can see there's bear traps down there as well. That's also part of the game, meant to represent sort of poaching, because we didn't have, there's not much we could do to represent that, but it's such a big part of what hurts endangered species that we wanted to represent it somehow. So here's our first animal, the giant panda. We're just seeing how we can view its happiness, which is affected by multiple things, as it says there. When we click on it, we'll see how it's currently feeling. So on the side we can see its environment happiness is nothing, but it's quite happy with its freedom. It's not happy about its food, it's not happy about its water, but it isn't sick either. But of course we need to get its environment happiness up by creating a lovely environment for it using the tools that the player has. This is sort of the main part of the game, is creating habitats. It's just meant to be quite a relaxing gameplay loop. So, yeah, sandbox elements of the game. Placing down some trees, so you can see the terrain changes color as you place items. Sorry, it's meant to be satisfying. I think it looks pretty nice. Placing down some bushes as well. The more item types you have, you can see in the top left, changes the diversity of your terrain. There you go. We've already reached maximum for now, but yeah, and the diversity is what affects the environment happiness of the animal. Placing some grass. It's using the paint tool the entire time, but as you can see, I can also use individual placement. Just showing off that you can delete items with the paint tool as well. Makes it very easy. There you go. It's a pretty nice environment right there. We place a termite mound. That's food for another animal that isn't unlocked yet, but will be soon. There you go. You see, it was pretty annoying to place that. That's because it checks the angle of the terrain. But I might look into making it a bit more forgiving, because it'd be pretty annoying. So there we go. So now the animal, the panda, was fully happy because we placed some water for it as well. That's all of its criteria met. Therefore, we've unlocked the next animal, which is the Western Lowland gorilla. You see in the top right, it was unhappy, but that's just because initially he needs to calculate his happiness, so he's always unhappy for a second. Although he had a little bit of a trap go off in another terrain. That's because the sandcat, if we have a look in a second, well, not the sandcat, the panda, sorry, he's trapped. And he's losing health, so we need to get him out. So you just press E on it and it goes away. You can walk again. The gorilla's asleep. So we can move terrains by pressing H. And here's the desert with the sandcat. Remove some of these bear traps, because as we just learnt, that can bite you if you don't get rid of them. So we just placed a fence to keep them in. They're still happy with their freedom because they only need about half the terrain to be happy with their freedom. So we're going to start placing some items in here to make them happy. And you'll see why I placed a fence soon. Place some grass down. Someone else got trapped. Looks like it's the gorilla. So we're going to go back to the forest and go get him out. There he is. He's trapped. No, that's a bug. He is managing to drink even though he's trapped. I just need to make sure, like, a distance check on the drinking and stuff, that would fix that. But the traps are a late addition, so sadly I didn't get to polish them completely for this build. And this build is the playtesting build that was given to some people at Portsmouth University to test, as well as just the rest of the people in the class. You see, I've placed a rat house in this environment, and this will start spawning rats that the carnivorous sandcat will eat, like that. Just attaches the rat to the mouth socket and chews it. And the rat house, it does spawn rats, but not infinitely. There's a maximum of 7 rats in the terrain until it no longer spawns anymore. But I might up it because it does feel a little low sometimes. So, he's almost happy now. He just needs some water. That's what a little cat bowl will do under the infrastructure section of the palette. Bring the palette up. You'll notice when you select a folder in the palette, it'll place a random item from within that folder, which is just a nice little user experience feature. So you don't have to go in and manually randomly select. So we've got a lot of tutorials coming in now. It can get a bit overwhelming, so that's something I'd like to look at. But it's just a tutorial that the sandcat, when he's hungry, he'll go for tortoises over rats. So you need to. That's the point of the fences. You need to separate them, or they'll get eaten. Also, an animal sick now. The gorilla, as you can see in the top right again, it's got a little green, nauseous face. Means he's sick. It's a nice fence gate on all the fences that works. Let's get rid of these traps again. There's the tortoise. It's moving. It sort of floats a little bit. Probably just add some Z offset to him. But right, so I'm going to look for the gorilla. That's one thing I'd like to add to the user experience, is the ability to focus onto an animal and not have to look through him. Because you'll see in the tundra it can be pretty difficult with the Arctic fox when we look at him in a minute. So he's back to being happy and he's healing. Because he takes damage when he's sick. And then when he's not sick, he starts healing at a rate determined by his happiness. Philly immediately has gone and got trapped. Which is really my fault, because I should have gone and get rid of those bear traps. And he's sick again. He's not having a good time. But I'm waiting a while, which is not good, because he's taking a lot of damage on it from both the trap and the sickness. So it's likely when we come back that he's died, and that was my mistake. Rest in peace. And but a new one will spawn soon. Now there is a problem with that, like morally, kind of like a design point of view. So the idea is these are all endangered animals, and the fact that when one dies, you get another one immediately is kind of, it doesn't emphasize the whole point that these are endangered. So there should be some sort of, like punishment. Perhaps you have a limited amount. Perhaps it takes ages for another one to come in. And that maybe it's hard because I don't think the game, with its relaxing kind of target, it's trying to be relaxing, and so it feels wrong to give it a lose condition. But I feel like without that, it would be hard to emphasize the whole point. These are endangered animals that we need to protect. So the panda stick now, so we're just going to go find the panda. That's what I'm saying. These are some sort of way to just focus on them, really. And the sandcat is sick as well. It is in the code that the more animals are sick, the less likely an animal is to get sick, but it doesn't sometimes seem like that. So it should probably be exaggerated a bit. And just heal him as well. There you go. So the way the sickness works is when you give them medicine, every second that they have medicine, they have a 5% chance to not be sick anymore. Placing some icebergs. These items can only be placed underwater, which is nice. Tundra shelters. Notice them in sort of gameplay videos of Planet Zoo. You see they've used something like this. Just sort of like a shelter from the snow. It would be nice to have, actually, just a snow effect. Perhaps you could add that. Placing some bushes. That's what the Arctic fox eats. He eats berries. Although he could also eat rats. There you go. Just need some water now. Just some more water bowls like the sandcat. There we go. Place a few of those down. Now he should be happy. There we go. Now leopards here. More facts. Just to tell you all about it. He looks out at the moment. That's just because he has to do his initial calculation. But now he's done it. He's happy as well, automatically. He should probably have some more extra conditions just to be more interesting. But there you go. That's all 6 animals unlocked. And for this test build, that playtesting build, that is the entire game. Well, at least it's progression. There is still, like, the player would hopefully be somewhat willing to keep managing it, but we need to find some sort of gameplay loop that keeps the player engaged once they've got all the animals unlocked. But still, I think increasing the size of the terrain is definitely something you could do to give the player more opportunity to make interesting terrain. But that would require some pretty major optimizations to the code for that work. Probably via chunking, like Minecraft does it. I wrote a lot about that in my research and stuff. Let's read that. Just looking through the terrains one last time. The fox is still sick. He gets, of course, sort of random chance. Theoretically, he could never get well again, but of course that's practically impossible, so too worried. The animation blueprint might need a little bit of work. Or at least he should wait after getting up before he starts walking again. But those are the sort of the little things that were unfortunately still in this build. But overall, I'm proud of the game. I'm proud of the work that Bradley and I have made here. I think his art style is very nice. I'm very happy with how it turned out visually, and also gameplay wise. I think it's quite, you know, I think we managed to implement what we wanted to some extent. And the video is finished now, but I'll just talk a little bit more. I think we managed to really implement like a minimum viable product for our concept. There's definitely a lot of changes we can make, and now we've done this playtesting. There's loads of information we've realized and want to add uh, in the game, and we'll probably go back, spend just a week polishing it, just once all of it submitted, just for fun. It's not gonna change our grade or anything. It's just satisfying to make our game better. But overall, yeah, I am satisfied with what we've made, and I think this has potential. So thank you for listening, and goodbye.